back in the AFC Championship, Red Right 88.
Red Right 88, oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember that game. I was 8 years old, man, and for whatever reason, Don Cockroft missed a couple of field goals earlier in the game. They didn't trust him, and then, bam.
We have Red Right 88, the drive, the notorious fumble. It's pretty sad, man. Well, we haven't won one since 64 or something. Dear God.
Hey guys, you're listening to SuperiorFandom.com. This is our special Cleveland podcast. We are recording unannounced, but that last bit of conversation did get picked up. I'm here, as always, with my buddy Matt Long, and we've brought along our buddies, Jeff Birman, Cleveland Jeff, familiar to many of our LA friends. Jeff, how are you, man?
I am well, my brother.
Rad, glad to have you. And we also have Thomas Neptune, longtime buddy of mine and Matt's as well, who is currently residing in Cleveland after passing through LA for a few years. Thomas, how you doing, bud?
Fantastic, brother. Stoked to chat all things Cleveland today.
Fuck yeah, I'm pretty excited. Jeff was telling me earlier in a couple texts that the what was that, the Lake County Minor League affiliate and their Joe Boo giveaway for the third straight year in a row. I'm pretty fired up about that.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. I was just looking at like local sports stuff going on in Ohio, and I ran across that, and it was where the hell was it? Oh, there it is. The Lake County Captains Promotions. They're going to be having on August 1st. It's going to be the second Joe Boo bobblehead night, returning to Classic Park. So they're going to give away like 1,500 bobbleheads.
Jeff,
hats for bats.
If you were able to snag me a Joe Boo bobblehead, I will be forever indebted to you. I'm just saying.
You know who reminds me of Joe Boo? Chris Carter on Houston. I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen Houston Astros. Check out Chris Carter.
He does resemble him a little.
Check out Chris Carter.
Sorry. Minus a Joe Boo shrine.
Yeah, exactly. Got to get some chicken in there or something.
Get a bucket of KFC, baby.
That's right.
Right on, man. I think I would lose my internet card here though if we didn't start the podcast by talking about LeBron. And Thomas, you live in Cleveland at the moment, so I guess maybe we can start with you. I'm just curious more about the off-court stuff in the moment. In the beginning of the season, a lot was made about LeBron coming back and the great return, and he was all about helping the city. And I just wonder, has any of that come to fruition in any way? Like, how do you think that's working out?
Absolutely. I know they have like some staggering number of like $500 million, which in my mind is complete BS. I mean, in time, the economic impact may become that great. But some numbers and stats have shown already in a small amount of time around like the $150 million to $160 million range. Some have even locally kind of dubbed it the LeBron James effect or Lakeonomics, if you will, which is absolutely ridiculous. But I kind of pulled some stats surprisingly in Cuyahoga County, and alone just the bars in the Gateway District are up anywhere from 30 to 200% year over year in revenues now that LeBron's back. It's the best winter they've had in 4 years, which anybody who knows, if you live in the Midwest, winters suck. It's tough to even get outside, let alone to a bar. Those revenues are up. The Q have had the highest ticket sales, parking, beer, T-shirts, food sales, and more importantly, they've sold out all 41 home games this year as opposed to 5 last year. Whoa. So I think the immediate impact is huge. You're also seeing, Cleveland Cavalier commercials and black and white movie shot of our cityscape on national television because LeBron's back. We have 30 nationalized games this year, and I mean that's unheard of for us, at least over the last 4 years since he was with the Heat.
Jeff, are you buying this in the long term?
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, I talked about that when I was in LA. I mean, it was hard being a Cavs fan because when I was in LA, of course, LeBron was gone. But the hardest part for me was I was no longer able to watch the team. And no bullshit. I mean, you just can't watch it because they're not on nationally unless LeBron's on. LeBron immediately changes everything. The numbers, I didn't know those numbers about the bars down there. That's amazing. But
yeah, it's unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, it's outstanding. And long term, hell yeah, I'm buying it. How could I not? This guy would, if you think for 1 second, one brief moment in time, that LeBron James might go somewhere else when it's all said and done, like he might pull a Michael Jordan to the Wizards type deal, you're fucking crazy. And I'll go on record as calling you that now.
Yeah, unless he goes and plays for a minor league White Sox team, like Jordan did. Actually, LeBron will just go be a tight end for the Browns, and that's something we'll have to talk about later on, and just start some hype about that and lie to everyone who's listening.
Yeah. I'm way down to start some LeBron to the Browns bullshit. I'm all about it.
He's gonna be a 38-year-old NFL rookie.
Fuck yeah. Right. I'm all about it. But back to some of the on-court stuff with the Cavs. I mean, I was kind of slow to come around to this because I don't really know why. I guess I just really like the Hawks. And I am and was a little bit concerned about David Blatt, but with some of the stuff that's going on with the Hawks and Paul Millsap not being healthy, and like no one in the East really being a legit contender, like to beat them, like I can't really help but have optimism that the Cavs are probably going to make it out of the East. And I know that Matt's been a long time supporter of that thought, even early in the season when the Cavs weren't doing good. And Matt, I just wonder, as the playoffs get near, like where do you sit in the whole David Blatt, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, LeBron James triangle, and how far do you think they're going to go?
I think they will go very deep, and to me, they're the favorite to win. I mean, mainly because of LeBron, but the reason I was so high on the Cavs was Kyrie Irving, because to me, he's a borderline top 10 player, and there's some people who won't say that, and I get it. It is early. I'm not even sure. Well, I probably would put him in my top 10, but that maybe is another discussion. But the reason that it pertains to what we're talking to right now is when you pair that type of player up with the King, odds are really in your favor. I mean, that's just how basketball is. So once Kyrie, has jumped to that next level, I mean, shit, he's Dwayne Wade. I'm saying this right now, and people don't like it. But he's scoring, he's scoring 20, what is it? It's 22 points a game. He has 5.2 assists. He's 12th in three-pointers made. Now, it means he jacks a lot up, but it's okay. And he, over a steal a game, he's close to four rebounds a game. Those are Dwayne Wade stats. I mean, he might need to add a couple more points there to get into Dwayne Wade prime, when he was like, I guess, over 25. But I'll wrap this up with saying I think they will go deep, and it's because of the talent on the court. One last take about Love is, and Thomas, I think I sent this to you via Twitter or something. I couldn't find the article before we were doing the pod, but there's an interesting article out right now where if you look into Kevin Love's numbers, he's actually a really good fit for what Cleveland's doing because he's
having a fantastic season.
How he spreads the floor. It's really weird because at least nationally, I don't think most people would think that he's having a really good year. But it's like if you had Wiggins there, and both of them, strangely enough, Wiggins is averaging 16.5 points a game and shooting 43.8 field goal percentage. Love is also at 16.5, and he's shooting 43, but he spreads the floor. So I'm a huge Warriors fan. Maybe we'll get into that too. So I would love to see Cavs Warriors. But just like I would say, if that happens, LeBron James is better than Stephon Curry. I would say that is why in the end, just like if you go down to the playground and a guy like LeBron shows up and you're like Curry, you're going to get got. You're going to get beat.
Yeah.
Jeff,
I think...
Go ahead,
Sorry,
Thomas.
Jeff.
No, go ahead.
I was just, and Jeff, feel free to chime in here, recast, but to kind of Matt's point, I mean, you look at Kevin Love, and yeah, the guy's not a stretch four player, but he stretches the court. I mean, for years he was underneath the hoop. We all know he's an amazing rebounder. Now you got this guy drilling down 40% on his three-point shot attempts after the All-Star break. You're also increasing the amount of driving lanes every time that dude steps outside behind the three-point line for the Tristan Thompson, Timofey Mozgov, and LeBron James coming through. And as Matt points out, yeah, he's at 16.5 points, 10 rebounds, a little over 2 assists, about 2-3 points a game. Are those stats that he had last year? No, but he doesn't need to have them because, as Matt pointed out, he's got Kyrie Irving and LeBron James next to him. Between those two, you've got about 48 to 50 points a game. Now we've got acquisitions like J.R. Smith, Swish going nuts, at least 20 almost any night, any given night. Timofey Mozgov's adding. Shump is nasty. And I think this is a well-rounded out team. I love just beast mode Kendrick Perkins. That guy's such an asshole in the paint. Every time we played him and he was at the Celtics, I hated him. Now I love him. And he's going to be – and by the way, the Hawks suck. Teague and Horford, like, Emil has out. I mean, dude, come on. Anybody else in the East is going to put up what? Rose is out. Who else can contend with us? I really don't see any. I think it's a pretty easy road. And I think, as Matt said, really the Warriors are the ones that have to really worry about in the West. Spurs can, I mean, I just don't see anybody getting there, man.
Jeff, you're pretty, you typically play the, I don't know, the low side on the optimism tip for some of this stuff. Where do you think the Cavs are going to fit in as we get into June here?
Well, I'll tell you what, this year they did far better. They came together far quicker than I think I could have ever imagined. And I think one of the things we forget about is getting rid of waiters. Not for nothing.
Yeah.
It changed a lot. It changed the dynamic of that team. And I think it gave them something special. One of my favorite quotes this year from anybody, anywhere in the Cavs, was from David Blatt when everybody was questioning what the hell's going on with this super team. And Blatt's like, everybody's looking at me calling me a rookie. Everybody forgets that I've got all these years of experience, that I am a championship coach. I have not coached in the NBA before, but that doesn't mean I haven't coached basketball. He goes, and let me tell you, I've never had a losing season, and I'm not going to start this year. And I was just like, fuck yeah, there you go. Now that's the attitude. Yeah. And I think it works, He empowers his players to make the decisions they need to make because he understands they see things on the floor that he can't see from where he's standing. That's why he shares the power. That's why he lets them make the calls. That's why, LeBron can take point guard, make a call. He can have, Kyrie make the call. Kyrie is in the top 5 point guards, and you can shuffle a lot of names into that mix, and it's a badass mix of point guards in the league right now. Badass amongst the top. And Kyrie's right there with those fellas. And LeBron, he's just LeBron. And Kevin, as far as he goes, yes, he is an all-star player. He's a phenomenal guy. He did have better numbers. But what did he have as a team? Kevin Love is looking at going into the postseason for the first time ever in his career. Okay, so he's not putting up the numbers he did when he was the only guy on the team, but obviously he can't do it himself. LeBron couldn't do it himself when he was with us the first time. We tried to shoulder that whole team on him. He couldn't do it. Kevin Love's never going to be the guy who can raise an entire team on his shoulders and carry their asses to a championship. He's learning what it is to be a team player this year. That's the bottom line.
To that end, Jeff, in terms of kind of putting it on LeBron's back. Like with the offense that the Cavs run, even though Kyrie can score, do you think in crunch time it's gonna come down to like give the ball to LeBron and get out of the way? And do you think that kind of offense is gonna be good enough?
No. Make no mistake. That's what we did last time. The first time he was with us. He doesn't have to do that anymore because his cast is so strong. It is so thick. It is so deep. it's not even funny.
Right,
I
understand.
He doesn't have to put up those 40-point games. He doesn't have to put up those 50-point games. He'll still do it every once in a while, but he doesn't have to have those numbers where he does that, because Kyrie's going to show up one night and he's going to drain 45 on some fools just standing there looking at him. You know, one night Love's going to drop 32, swat 3, and, you know, and recover, you know, 15 boards. I mean, he's going to go nuts. These things are going to happen. LeBron doesn't have to do it night in and night out. And I think that's going to really matter now that he's 30. And I think going into his 30s, I think he needs to have that support with him. And it has to be the team. And I think that's what the Cavs have.
Sure, and I'll grant you that they have it, but my question is more like, you mentioned that LeBron does have the freedom and the ability to call the plays, and that Kyrie is more of a scoring first point guard, and I just wonder if without that offensive system in place to move the ball, without such a player control system, I wonder if the ball is going to move enough to not stagnate late in the playoffs. I do believe that they have enough talent to get late in the playoffs. I just wonder if they have the talent to get over the hump, and I think that's just something that's going to have to, like, wait and see, you know what I mean?
Hey, Joe, if I could jump in here real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I would just say, to me, LeBron is the eraser in that situation, and Kyrie isn't. Kyrie, Kyrie to me is a combo guard, if you want to put it that way. But I love him, and he works perfectly with a LeBron who is, you know, dealing 7.4 dimes a game. So my short answer would be, that's a really good question you asked, but it works on this team with LeBron.
Yeah, totally. And the other thing, too, like, I was just watching some footage. Mozgov is a beast. Like, Thomas, did you know you were getting a beast in Mozgov like you ended up with? Like, I didn't realize how athletic that guy was going down the lane.
That's why I brought up Maserati, baby. That dude is nasty. They love him. He fits in great. And if we could get a translator, he and Blatt love cussing in Russian. I was at a game, like, second row against the Raptors early, and those two are just, they go off. And this dude's a beast. And you think about it, Varejav's been out, and other than Tristan Thompson, we needed to get another big dude in there. I think he works really well with the system. And you still have Love and Thompson, who are underneath the top 35 rebounders in the league right now. So I think he's a mobile big guy. His shooting percentage is solid. He's solid from the line. And he can transition. I mean, the guy gets back to play D quick. He's pretty fast considering how tall and lanky he is.
Yeah, totally, man. I agree wholeheartedly. Do we have any more Cavs takes? Do you guys want to discuss the tribe, or do you want to go to the Browns first?
How about tribe?
I'm down. Yeah, cool. All right.
So the tribe was picked by SI like this past offseason before it started to win the World Series. And I specifically remember, Jeff, when you were down here, and they got Terry Francona. I told you in 2 years they would be awesome. And since then, you look at Corey Kluber, you look at the rest of that staff, you look at that Carrasco kid they picked up. You know, I think Kipnis is going to rebound, and I just think, you know, the tribe is in a really good state, and I think they've got a guy, you know, I don't want to pick on David Blatt, but kind of opposite of David Blatt, that I think can handle the postseason a little bit better. And I don't know if they're going to win it all this year, but in a Central that's in flux with the Tigers kind of going down, the Twins being terrible, Kansas City's beatable, and I mean the White Sox got some guys too, so they'll be better. But I just think that Cleveland can compete, and it would be, I don't know, I think that'd be one hell of a story. And I just wonder, Jeff, have you turned into a Tribe fan yet?
I've always been a Tribe fan, bro. I just, you see me in the Yankees hat and you assume I don't like the Indians. There's where you're wrong. The reason I had the Yankees was for years, we didn't play in the postseason, so I needed a postseason team. And I like Jeter. So, plus, Yankee Stadium, not for nothing. It's a great place to watch a game. And yeah, so no, I absolutely, I've always been a Tribe fan. And look, when you were talking about Tito coming over and making a difference, I knew he would. I mean, come on, for the love of God, he put an end to the Red Sox drought. I mean,
do you think that, Thomas? Do you think the Tribe wins the World Series before the Cubs?
Did you say the Tribe wins the World Series before what?
Before the Cubs.
Before the Cubs? That's a good question. I think the Cubs are going to be legit this year, too. I think the Tribe might have a better chance just in the short term and long run. I think the people that we have on the pitching roster right now are legit. I think with Carlos Carrasco and Trevor Bauer, none of them are even, 29 years old yet. I think Kluber's nasty. You look at Michael Brantley, though, I am concerned, and I just got a little birdie that was humming in my ear that yesterday they got Jerry Sands. They just purchased a contract for first baseman outfitter Jerry Sands because they feel Brantley's is dealing with more back issues, and the home opener, he looked pretty shitty against the Tigers. So I'm hoping that, we need the help to kind of finish the season. And you look at, like, Gavin Floyd, I mean, that was a big acquisition to the rotation, and now he has refractured the bone in his elbow. So I think the Tribe can go to the ALCS. I think we see a rematchup of an ex-Indian manager versus a current one and an ex-Boston Red Sox manager. I see the Bo Sox beating us in the ALCS and potentially playing, I don't know, the Nationals, the Giants, or somebody like that. But I really don't think it's our year. I think we'll get close, and I think in the Central, you're right, we'll be dominant, but I don't know if we're going to go all the way this year.
Matt, what do you think about this? I know that you like some of the guys on the back end of that Indians bullpen, and I know that we're both Brantley fans, and he's dealing with that back thing, and hopefully that's not a big deal because that really screw up my fantasy team. So hopefully it's it's not a complete sham or just like a really bad situation there. But what do you think about the Indians, man?
Yeah, well, one thing I would say, just hearing the boys from Cleveland talk, would you guys say it's true that probably the way things go now in Cleveland is you go Cavs, Browns, then Indians? Because I can tell you guys are a little gun shy there, which I can fully, and Joe can too, but I can even more because I'm older than him, following the Giants and their misery. Until it happens, you're going to always be gun shy in baseball.
Absolutely.
Because so much shit has to go right, and you got to get lucky, and it's freaking crazy. But yeah,
I was alive in '95. I remember.
Yeah, and '97.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
On.
That is. Well, I know it, and it's easy for me to say now as a Giants fan, but seriously, up until the Giants won one, it was as bad as that for the Giants, or close to as bad. Quick take on the Indians. I am worried about the Michael Brantley thing too, because he is like he's a top 10 player when he's right with all the things he can do. Moss is bothering me a little too because I have him on my fantasy team, but I thought he would love that short porch in right field.
Yeah,
and
right
he
field,
just hasn't been able to put that together. But I do like Cody Allen at the back of the pen, and when you have Kluber and Allen, that's a pretty good ace closer combo, and I think you almost need to have those two things along with a couple others, obviously, but those two things to go deep in baseball right now. I'm a Cavs fan. Cavs also. I'm an Indians fan, so I would like to see them go, but like Thomas and Jeff were saying, I mean, I think it's really, really hard to predict, like SI did, to predict any World Series winner, to be honest.
Yeah, and by the way, just kind of looking over the report here, Brantley is out of the lineup Saturday against the Tigers.
Shake.
He played 9 innings. He played 9 full innings yesterday, but the issue may have resurfaced. Micah Vilas will be in the outfield Saturday against David Price, and Jason Kipnis moving into the 3-hole, so that's wonderful. It says consider Brantley day to day until the team elaborates, so that's fucking great news.
And they basically just purchased a contract with Jerry Sands yesterday, so I'll imagine he'll start in center field today. I mean, I like I said, it goes back to what I just don't see the depth there. I mean, we still need Kipnis, Chisenhall to have a good season, Michael Bourne, Brantley. I mean, I think he'll stay healthy enough. Back issues are no joke, though. What's that? The slip disc, sciatica, spinal stenosis, who knows? That stuff takes a while, and you got to let it rest. Moss seems healthy enough. We'll see what he does, and I think the rotation is deep enough to get to the ALCS. You know, perhaps win our division, but I don't see us going all the way.
Right.
Not this year.
I think that was just kind of a kind of brash dark horse pick by SI. They tend to do that. A couple years ago, they picked Phillip Rivers to be the NFL MVP, and that also really fucked Matt Nice fantasy football team. Many moons ago. So hopefully this isn't one of those. And before we get off the Indians, one thing that I want to say. I watched Carlos Carrasco pitch the other day. He's a dark horse for for a solid. I mean, obviously Kluber's the ace, but that guy's got frontline starter capability. Let me tell you, like they're good, man. He's a good pitcher.
He is good.
He had a 1.3.
His head's right.
I mean, he's unbelievable. 1.30 ERA over his 10th season, including starts. The problem is we haven't had anybody who's had really a stretch of more than like 2.5 months. So let's see if they can go the length of the season. But he throws so hard. Joe's dead on with that. He's beast mode, man. I think that's going to be a real addition to the rotation, if you will, with Kluber and, of course, Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, and by the way, too, one thing that I think bears, like, at least some mention, that 5-year, $38 million deal that they gave Corey Kluber last week, I love that deal, and I look at teams like the A's or whatever, who aren't a big market team either, and I feel like they always tend to maybe not sign some of their guys, obviously, and I just think that, like, a 5-year, $38 million deal, like being proactive, very much like the Giants did with Bumgarner. That's a great deal, and I think a solid move by the organization on the up. You know, I don't know. That's my take on that. Jeff, you got anything you want to add there?
Joe, you know what I got to say to that, and here's the neatest stat I think I've run across when we look at everything we're talking about with the Indians right now. They're sitting at $86 million this year on payroll. $86 million.
They can add there too.
That's pretty nice. I mean? That's pretty nice. I didn't know that.
That's $86 million. Yeah, I mean it's. I just saw something not long ago. It was the Dodgers. Yeah, the Dodgers are at 272.8.
Yeah, and they pay guys not to play for them too.
Yeah, and we're roughly 1/4 of the Dodgers payroll, and you know, people are talking about us like this.
Yeah.
So that's pretty freaking encouraging, because if there's anything missing along the way, you know, there's plenty of room to pick it up. Because to me, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a time when the Cavs, the Indians, and the Browns were actually all coming together and doing really well. And it was just before the Browns left, you know, because we had just gotten the new arena, we had gotten the new stadium. It was late 80s, early 90s, or early 90s when we started getting a better team. And then all of a sudden the Jake came out, and we sold out for, almost 10 years straight. The Jake had sold out every single game. It was ridiculous. And what I'm seeing when we're looking at the Cavs building a team, and I'm looking at a young Cleveland staff here, and then I'm looking at my Browns going, Bill Belichick was our coach back then. We were on the verge.
Right.
You know, and now I look at the Browns and I go, well, what do we got?
Yeah. Speaking of the Browns, where do you guys think they go in the draft? I mean, I was reading today, it's looking like they're going to try to add a receiver with the first pick. Do you think that's the right move? I mean, I want to talk more in depth about the Browns and the fact that they just changed their helmet color by, like, two shades of orange, but you know, it's hard to look for silver linings with that team. Like, call me a pessimist, but fuck.
Well, if we're post Tribe, I can say in reference to the Browns, I don't think any enhanced orange color on a jersey or a different typeface on the font of the jersey is really going to do much. I don't know if anybody saw though, but there was like this sneak peek of the jersey on Twitter and had like the dog pound kind of and stitched into the collar of the jersey. But really, other than the color and everything, I mean, it's just really what's going to turn our organization around. Like, get real. I think we've had some amazing off-season acquisitions. I love Dwayne Bowe. I love Ohio-born Brian Hartline. He's an old Glen Oak guy from the Canton area. He actually played where my father-in-law coaches right now, right by the Hall of Fame. And he's going to be a great veteran to kind of have mentoring the younger staff. And I'm sure, you know, Jeff can speak to it. I think Josh McCown's legit, having Denzel and Connor Shell and Thaddeus Young behind him. We got a good enough squad. I just don't think orange jerseys are really going to turn it much around. And I think actually people around here were just kind of like, dude, this is a joke. And it wasn't like some huge mystery they unveiled.
Yeah, Jeff, what's your take on the Browns? I know we were talking about Johnny Manziel pre-podcast. Like, he got out of rehab today, I guess, and I think LeBron kind of took him under his wing from what you were telling me.
Well, no, that's my suspicion here. Okay,
yeah.
My theory's been that from the day Johnny Manziel signed his personal rights contract, basically all his sponsorship contracts go through LeBron James' company. Okay, so when you saw him in that first McDonald's ad, that was when he had first signed with, you know, LeBron. So LeBron's kind of had this relationship with Johnny, and I think he kind of let him do his rookie thing. And when it was all over, I think he kind of looked up and went, "Holy shit! Look how hard LeBron works. Look what LeBron has to do." And LeBron's going, "Son, if you want to make the fucking money, if you want to be the champion, if you want to be the man, this is what you have to do." And I think that overall attitude probably got to Johnny. And, you know, especially when he's a hard partier. You know, it is what it is. And, you know, I think it got to him. I think going into rehab, I think it's actually legit. I only buy it because of the amount of time he was in. I have seen hundreds of celebrities and athletes and all these people go into rehab, they detox, and then they pop out, and suddenly they're better. Johnny actually committed. He stayed in for, 2 months, 3 months, something like that?
Yeah.
That's a long-term rehab. That's serious stuff.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see what we have. Am I a fan of his?
22-year-old drinking his ass off. I mean, how old is he? 22 years old?
Yeah, he's a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, okay, at 22, I had just moved to Los Angeles. I was there for 10 years. I was fucking hammered at 22. You know, this guy's got a spotlight on him. Everybody's like, you got to go to rehab. Like, and I do agree with Jeff at some point. Like, you do have celebrities go and they do this 38 bullshit. Yeah, you're going to withdraw, and then you're, like, healthy for a few weeks, and then you're back boozing. This kid's 22 years old. Like, do I expect him to come out and have a clean season and not, you know, get fucked up in the tabloids nonstop? Yeah. But does that mean he's going to be like our amazing long-term player or an amazing long-term sober athlete? I don't know. The kid's 22 years old. You know, I think he is sober now. Let's see what happens. I could just give two shits, though, because I don't see him being the long-term face or quarterback of the franchise. I don't think Josh McCown is either. You know, but who knows? Are we going to, and Jeff, I'll ask you this. Do you think we're going to go and put all of our eggs in one basket for those 2 first-round picks and get Mariota, or do you think we're going to go more the Devontae Parker or Todd Gurley route?
Dude, there are so many different ways they could go, and I love the Gurley route. I personally, I think that's a great one.
Yeah.
But I will say this. If I could trade away both first-round picks and Johnny, and rehab Johnny, and get first and get Mariota, I would trade that in a fucking heartbeat. In a heartbeat. That would be the easiest decision to ever make. Ever. Ray Farmer, him missing the first 4 games of the season wouldn't matter. He wouldn't even care. He'd be like, I got Marcus Mariota. I kept my job.
I would be down as an outsider out here. I ditto that, Jeff. I didn't even know that was a possibility. The way you guys got into the minutia of the picks there, but if that is a possibility, there's franchise quarterbacks. Even if Mariota is not going to be one, I think he can be. There's hardly any, and I would do that too. What about you, Thomas?
Well, did we think Johnny Manziel was a potential franchise quarterback when we picked him up at 16? I mean, I don't know. I feel like this is something we do.
I didn't
we did
either.
With Trent Richardson, and I don't think Marcus Mariota is the next coming. I mean, yeah, he is freaking amazing. But I will say this: I care about winning this season. And if we put him in there and we don't have anybody to ground and pound and get some yardage with on the ground, and also anybody to throw the ball to, it's not going to matter who we have back there and whether Josh McCown can mentor him or not. I mean, I think, and I love the Gurley route and the Devontae Parker route because it gives us an arsenal now. You get Josh McCown in there, you have Johnny Manziel, who we're actually going to put some stock into now to rehab, so there's your backup or potential starter, Connor Shaw, and Thaddeus basically coming behind Josh McCown to throw the ball to Dwayne Bowe, Travis Benjamin, Brian Hartline. If you get Isaiah Crowell with Terrence West and like a Gurley pounding the ball at the line of scrimmage behind a pretty healthy offensive line now with a Michael Boyd at the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, dude, Alex Mack is back. I think it could be a legit season this year. If we put all our eggs in one basket with Mariota, yeah, we could be amazing. We could get a franchise quarterback. But we've done these things before in Cleveland. We've given away our draft picks to get that.
No. We've always taken that. We've always hung our hat on our franchise quarterback with the second pick in the first round. He had the same damn draft number as not Couch. No, Couch. We did that. That was a screw up.
Yeah,
but that was dumb. We took him at the same spot. I think we got Whedon. I think that's the same spot that we took Brady Quinn at. And then we took Johnny Manziel at it. Well, it was number 22, right? 22 or 23
for Manziel.
Yeah, and I think we took one or both of those guys at that very same number. And so no, we haven't really made a really super aggressive move. And if we have made any type of aggressive type move, it's never been for the man. It's been for somebody who's been seemed like a sexy pick. Brady Quinn, sexy pick. Johnny Manziel, sexy pick. Brandon Whedon knows what it takes to be a professional, but I saw the Chris Wenke project. I knew it was wrong then, too. But, they go for these little sexy picks, but they never really aggressively go for a great person. Mariota is one of the few great people coming out. I wouldn't give that deal up for Jameis Winston. I'll tell you that right now.
Do you think his impact if we get him? Oh, okay. How do you like? I know we let Cameron go, but are you a fan of the Rob Hausler acquisition, at least from the Cardinals and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, we need somebody in there. I mean, Cameron, he's great when he's able to play. But
yeah,
let's be real. I mean, we're all learning more about concussions every day. Cameron's life is at risk when he plays the game of football. Letting him go is, it's sad, but damn, he needed to go anyway because he's going to die on the field. So, at that point, bring in a tight end.
That is such a sad statement. Like, I don't mean to jump in, but man, that is just...
You heard it here. Cameron's going to die on the field.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's how we can get some ratings right there, Joe.
That's the thing, man. Like, that's just... I don't know. To me, that's just a real bummer. Like, that just further drives home the point of, like, why I'm a baseball fan. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was like Torrey Hunter. Who was I talking about this? This might have been on another pod. Maybe it was Chris, Matt.
Probably.
Who was like, he was talking about Torrey Hunter, who used to play football, and Torrey Hunter said, "Look, I could play football for 4 years, or I could play baseball for 20." And it was just one of those things where it was like, man, like you really don't want to think of it in those terms, but shit, like that's a real thing. You know what I mean? I don't know. I digress. I didn't mean to get off the topic.
Dude, to Joe's point, you're dead right. LeBron's playing basketball.
Yeah.
He could be a retired Cleveland Browns player right now, or the next tight end Jordan Cameron with a ton of head injuries. He chose basketball.
Yep.
The guy, I mean, we followed him around in high school. I was a few years older than him. And in Northeast Ohio, he'd go to these high school games. I mean, dude, Fighting Irish, baby, that guy was annihilating people out there on the football field before he was really even dunking over people. So, I mean, you know, Joe brings up a good point. First off, you have to think of the economic impact for your own family and the health impact, you know. The cost of health insurance, especially if you get dropped to the team, you have all these injuries, goes through the roof. You get long-term deals with, like, basketball or baseball. You get to take care of your family, and your body doesn't, I mean, yeah, it's going to get torn apart a bit, but not as quick as in football.
And, like, not
yes,
just...
but he and economically speaking, he never had to be exploited by the NCAA. He never gave them an opportunity to make a dime off of his ass. He made an economic decision from day one. So that was brilliant on LeBron's part.
He handled it better. I think he bought a Hummer with his mom.
No. His mom bought the Hummer while he was still in school. It was in fact a deferred. There was in fact deferred financing though. So so no payments had to be made until LeBron signed a contract.
Additionally, too, like the thing that we talked about earlier, it was Thomas that touched on this. Like, if you think about the money that LeBron made for the city, playing basketball and all the increase with the bars and you know, the merchandise sales and, you know, whatever else, and just the general the general economy in Cleveland, like, if he's playing football, you get that, you know what I mean, you get that for 5 years instead of, you know what I mean, the rest of his life.
And not to mention only a few months out of the year.
Yeah, totally. Only 8
season.
Games. Those are 8 days. Yeah, those are 8 games a week. You know what I mean? And you can make, as an individual athlete, you make way more impact on a basketball court than you do any other sport, baseball or football. So, you know, I mean, it's just interesting. And also, like, I don't know this for a fact, and maybe you could tell me that, you know, other players have this deal too. But, like, I don't think football players have, you know, 9-figure, 8-figure shoe contracts. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that exists either.
Not in general. No, I mean, you guys might be able to chime in here. What's the league minimum in the NFL right now? Like in the high 290? I mean, you guys signed somebody off a practice squad. Some of these linemen who are nobody. I mean, it's just, and you might be out there for one play. Let's say you're on special teams, you just get plowed running down the field. You're there for one play.
Yeah, totally.
You know, and then there's just not a lot of long-term financial benefit, like we brought up. I mean, if you could go play any sport or count it up and play multiple ones, you know, I look at like Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson back in the day. What took Bo out? You guys remember running down the sideline with the Raiders, and that his whole leg just practically freaking two. And the guy was breaking bats overs. He's nonstop with the Royals. He could have broke 1,000 bats over his freaking knee every goddamn game, and that never would have happened to him. You know, now he's shooting a fucking bow and arrow in Oklahoma. I mean, you know, what could have happened if you just would have stuck with one? Deion Sanders, he had that reality show, which was terrible, and it's sad that I'm admitting I watched it. The dude rode around on a goddamn scooter in his mansion all day long because his knees are so fucked up. You think that's from playing with the Braves? No. It's from playing on turf at the Superdome of the Falcons.
And he couldn't even really hit, he didn't get into a lot of high velocity contact hits either, because, you know, Deion liked to basically intercept the ball and return. So like,
he wasn't about hitting you. He was about intercepting.
Right, he was an offensive player playing defense.
Definitely. Yeah. And like, one thing I wanted to touch on with you guys too, and Thomas kind of started to before we close this shit out here, is You mentioned how, everybody followed LeBron around in high school. And I just look at the Cleveland internet scene and just kind of like the reporters from some of the paper and like the Plain Dealer. And you got guys like Brian Windhorst, who's one of those dudes that followed LeBron around from like really early on in his career in high school and whatnot. And now he's like one of the top NBA writers for ESPN, and he still follows LeBron around all the time. And I feel like when LeBron was coming to Cleveland, like, there were guys that kind of broke that story way before it was like a thing that like LeBron was coming to Cleveland. And I don't know if it's Jeff or Thomas that can speak to this, or if anybody knows, or this is made up in my head, but like, I feel like the Cleveland like sports fan, internet writer, whatever, they have ways to get into things that other people just don't. And I wonder if you see that on a daily basis, like in your papers, or if you have anything to add to that, or if I'm just making shit up.
I think Cleveland gets in your blood and it doesn't leave you no matter what. I think that's what the problem is, because no matter where I go, no matter where I live, one of the first things I tell people when I meet them, they're like, "You're not from around here." I said, "No, I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio." And that never leaves you. That never, ever leaves you. And when I figured it out when they made, like, somebody, I'd seen an article where LeBron's wife, who, right after the season was over, last year, wrote, "I'm going home," and had Ohio and Akron marked with a heart. And I think right then is when I was like, "Yep, he's going to do it. He's going to leave."
That's
when she posted that on her Twitter. I said, "Yep, that's it. Cleveland's in her. That's it. Cleveland's in LeBron. That's it." I think that's the difference.
Thomas, can you speak to this in any kind of way?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with Jeff that much more. I mean, I'm actually from Worcester, Ohio, and it's about 45 minutes from downtown. And I tell people, because nobody knows where the hell Worcester, Ohio is if you're outside of the state or really northeast Ohio, that I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and it's just in your blood. And, I mean, to kind of speak on the Twitter scene a little bit, too, I mean, the day that he was talking about the whole kind of decision being made or up in the air, you saw these moving vans and trucks out in Miami, and next thing you know, you see this picture posted with Z meeting LeBron coming off the plane in Cleveland. So right away, you're just like, moving, putting two and two together, coming back to Cleveland. All of his best friends still live here in the Akron Canyon area. He has this huge marketing company in Cleveland. He still gave like 1 million bicycles to inner city kids in Akron, and still does the huge bike-a-thon every year. The guy is embedded in our culture and in Northeast Ohio. He's the one that said in Northeast Ohio, nothing is given, everything's earned, you work for what you have. I'm ready to accept the challenge, and I'm coming home. I'm coming home. I'm not, going to take my talents to Cleveland. I'm coming home. And I think that local scene's embedded in. You look at like people like Terry Pluto, the Plain Dealer staff writer, in addition to Brian, but I mean, he's covered LeBron since day one. Like, we're invested in this guy, and it's not just an economic impact. It's, for lack of a better word, being proud. We've had this curse, whether it's done with the Tribe or the Browns just having the worst front office in all of football. And you look at the Cavs now, and with Blatt and the entire roster and LBJ back, and you think to yourself, fuck, this could work. Like, LeBron's kids are here, they're balling out, they're watching their dad, they're going to the games, the Q's it's nuts. You go to the Q now, they have a whole introductory video that's like, I don't know, 10 minutes long. Jeff, I don't know if you've been up for a game this year, but it's like you watch this thing on the Jumbotron before every game, and your hair just stands up on your arms. I mean, that's what it does. There's no other player. There's no other sports figure in Ohio history and recent history that even has close to that impact. And the only two people I could even remotely think of would be Bob Feller for the Indians, which was way back in the day, and Jim Brown for the Browns, which was way back in the day. Nobody else has had an impact on any of our teams as much as LeBron James has, or as a sports figure in Ohio. I don't think anybody else has.
That's rad. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Joe, just piggybacking off of what these guys have just said, and not to get into a long one, but I would throw out there then to me, you still get pushback on this, but if LeBron can win one or two in Cleveland, I think you start to have to say legitimately. I mean, none of this, caveats and entering this discussion, scared or like, oh, I don't know if this is right. But you got to start saying he's the greatest player. Of course, there's Michael who's jumping back at me. But to me, you got to really start saying it out loud and with a lot of authority that LeBron James is the greatest player to play in the NBA.
I mean, when you start, don't buy that, but go ahead.
I don't. But if you get two more rings, look at the stats.
I got to thinking about this the other day. So I was talking to a guy at the bar, and he brought up where do you stand? And he's like, I'm firmly on Jordan being the greatest of all time. I said, well, you look at when Jordan came into the league. He came into the league when the greatest teams of all time were playing. He came in during the Lakers, the Sixers, the Celtics, the perennial greats out there just battling it out. Great team ball. Everybody got involved. Then Jordan came to the scene, and it was like Jordan and Pippen, and that was it. And Jordan suddenly became the team, and he's the guy who kind of beat us. But that's going way back. But you look at what LeBron brings, it's a lot different because he is more of a team player than Jordan was. He is better at assists. His blind passes, I'll throw out there, I don't think since maybe Pistol Pete Maravich has anybody had a blind pass as sick as LeBron James is. He throws from everywhere, and it goes everywhere. It goes where he wants it, when he wants it. The guy's awesome. He's sick, and he changes the way the teams have to play because he forces everybody to play like a team. And I think that his influence on basketball is huge in that regard. But I don't know about greatest player of all time.
I'm just saying he gets in that discussion without people always making all these, for lack of a better word, caveat. I mean, you're right. I'm not saying he would be the guy, but you got to start throwing him up there with 3 or 4 guys. I mean, in my opinion.
I don't see how you can't. How can
people do that though, Thomas? Hell, yeah. We out here in LA. How about the whole Kobe stuff? That was crazy. Yeah. But go ahead. But you know what I mean. People still say that.
I would say 2 things. Also, yeah, fun. That's the title of this podcast. Fuck Kobe. I loved it. I got a black mamba, and it's not a basketball player. I mean, listen. 2 things. One is, could Jordan play point guard, shooting guard, power forward, strong forward? I mean, I just don't know how diverse Jordan was in comparison to LeBron. But then you bring titles into play. LBJ's got 2. If he can do it with another team, Michael Jordan can go to the Wizards and fucking bring up a title.
I think the real comparison has to be with when you're looking at him and the way LBJ plays. I think the real comparison, you have to go to the way Magic played.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Because Magic, look, when Kareem went down, he looked at the coach and said, "Don't worry, you got Magic," and he played center. The guy did everything, and he really, he would pass, and he would jump, and you didn't want to foul him, and I mean, dude, that finger roll, come on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I look at Jordan too, and the thing that I think people don't maybe. I don't know, because LeBron is good at this too, but it's also the defense that Jordan plays I don't think gets as much credit as it deserves when you're talking about the greatest ever. And I also think when you're talking about the greatest player ever, at least in my opinion, I think history slaps you in the face. And I think LeBron is capable of having a historical moment, and maybe, if he goes and does 2 and 3 or something crazy in Cleveland. Like, there's going to be some historical moments that slap you in the face, and it'll put LeBron, in that conversation or over the top. But when I look at LeBron in the finals, and again, this isn't a Cleveland moment, but I just think, like, he cramped up. You know what I mean? He didn't play game 2 of the finals. Or the end of it anyway, and his team lost. And I look at Jordan. No team that Jordan was ever on lost an NBA final. I look at Jordan, I remember games like the flu game that he had against Utah. You know what I mean? Or going and getting like 50-something points in the finals against Phoenix and beating Charles Barkley. And I don't know. I'm not saying that, like, LeBron hasn't had an oh shit moment like that on the highest stage, or that I'm not saying that he can't. I'm saying that he hasn't yet, if that makes sense. And I think until he does, it's kind of much to do about nothing, and Michael still has the throne. And also, like, LeBron James is number 23. Without the real number 23, like, come on, man, like, who's he even looking up to? You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know, I also give a little bit more credit to Jordan because, like, I feel like LeBron is more outgoing, and Jordan's just literally, like, especially at the end of his career for the last title run, he literally just stayed in his apartment and played cards. You know what I mean? And I don't know what that means in today's world, but I think with Twitter and things of that nature, like, Jordan would have been a lot bigger if he came through, you know what I mean, 15 years later. I don't know. That's my take.
That being said, he would have been under a lot more scrutiny and pressure, though, with social media and media in general on him, which LeBron takes way more than Michael Jordan had to worry about. He had to worry about getting in a TV commercial with Larry Bird, shooting some basketballs from weird angles, and a shoe deal. I mean, that was all he needed to worry about was not gambling away all his cash assets like Charles Barkley and banging hookers on golf trips. Let's call a spade here. The dude's the nastiest of all time, and he's got the rings to prove it.
Yeah,
but I think, to touch on what Jeff said, he's got that steel of the Magic Johnson. He's super diverse. I think he's the most well-rounded player. I think the ultimate shooting crowns, though, and the people who have the rings would go to, ultimately, Michael Jordan. I think Kobe's right behind him. But I think for most diverse player who could sometime, potentially soon, get up into that upper echelon, if he's not already there, it's LeBron. And he doesn't have a ton of time left, but I think he's got 5 to 6 years left to kind of, see if we can bring a ring, or maybe 2 to Cleveland, maybe 3. Who knows? The cast we have is legit to do it this year. We just gotta look out for Matthew Sidney Long's boys, the Warriors.
Oh, yeah, we'll see about. But I want to be clear here too, though. I'm not saying that LeBron has knocked anybody off that top spot. I mean, Jordan's there. I'm just saying more that he gets in the conversation, a serious conversation, as the greatest.
Definitely. You guys got anything else left on this?
I think I'm finito.
Right on, guys. Thank you so much for doing this, Jeff. It was awesome to hear from you again. We got to do this again very soon, man. Thanks so much.
Anytime, brother. Thanks for having me on.
Hell yeah, Thomas, you got to come on and do it again too, man. This was awesome. Thanks, man.
Anytime, brother. Pleasure meeting you, Jeff. You guys have a good day. Good talking to you, Matt and Joe.
Yeah, we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much.
Peace.
All right.